How you doing? I'm Maurice Wilkey for NeighborMedia and Cambridge Community Television. When you think of the theater, you actually sometimes think of like really expensive tickets, usually going downtown, spending a lot of money. And it's not necessarily relating to subjects that actually you can kind of identify with. Did you know there's actually a theater right here in Cultural Central Square, Cambridge? That's right, it's called the Central Square Theater, and they're actually putting on a production. It's called The Convert, and that's being sponsored and put on by the Underground Railway Theater. And they're actually really big on producing plays that identify with disenfranchised voices. So today we're going to, find out what's going on here with the Underground Railway Theater and the Central Square Theater. Let's step inside with CCTV. Welcome back, Maurice Wilkey, NeighborMedia for CCTV. And I am joined by one of the actors in the play, The Convert. And I'm not going to butcher your name, so I'm going to ask you to say it for me.
Nehassaiu, deGannes.
Thank you. I could have got your last name right. But I was like, no, I don't want this person to be mad at me. But thank you very much for joining us today. And I was like, just talking with your director, Megan, just a little while ago. And your character is Prudence in this particular play. And you actually have a lot of local kind of roots. You're an MFA grad from Brown.
Yeah.
And you actually are also a graduate of Trinity Rep Conservatory. So my first question to you is, what got you into this acting?
Wow.
What captured the acting bug for you? Was there a role or a thing,
That's a great question, and you've touched on one of the seeds of that. I mean, if I go back to when I was little, I've always loved stories, telling stories, making up stories. Went to the theater quite a bit with my family growing up, which was wonderful. I did take one drama class in 9th grade, and I was in the high school musical, which was The Wizard of Oz, and I played a munchkin.
Was it The Wiz or was it The Wizard of Oz?
It was The Wizard of Oz.
Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with any one of them.
I'm familiar with both of them. If it was The Wiz, I would have said The Wiz.
Okay, all right. So working here at Central Square Theater, are there any subtle nuances to being here versus places like Providence or Canada or?
I mean, this is my first time working here. I've seen shows here before.
Yeah.
I came and saw the Harriet Jacobs play.
Yes.
I saw The Mountaintop.
I saw that too, great play. Yeah,
and I saw Remembering HM, which I really enjoyed. And I feel that it is a theater that really does fulfill its stated mission. As it says right there in the lobby, epic stories told intimately. Right. And I'm so grateful that they were courageous enough to produce The Convert, right? It's a 3-hour play.
Play, yeah.
Right? Shavian, dealing with, colonial Southern Africa,
right.
A rich constellation of characters, complex, human, humorous, but deeply moving material.
Did you have to do a lot of research for that yourself, for the character that you played?
We did a fair amount. We were given access to a wonderful dramaturgical package that really excavates this time period, also looks at Shona and Matebele culture, pre the European presence in Southern Africa, looks at this particular moment in history, which is a real sort of crucible and cauldron, all these forces coming together. Right. So we had access to that research, and I did a little bit of research on my own as well. Okay.
Now, obviously we're talking about another country, we're talking about another continent and a country in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Do the themes, do you think they resonate with this audience?
I can't speak for the audience, but
for you as an actor,
they certainly resonate for me in the sense that we're getting from the audience. I mean, the way in which they listen, the way in which they're engaged, the way in which they're responding afterwards in talkbacks or in the lobby. It's clear that yes, these themes are resonating both in terms of, oh my goodness, I didn't know this history, but also resonating in terms of how it reverberates with the very socio-political issues that we are contending with right now.
Today, yeah. You're dealing with choices of your culture and taking on new thoughts of something different that you never encountered before, and how that might clash with what you've been brought up with.
Right, and what are the costs of that? What are the costs of social change? Also, who gets to have authorial power? That scene where Chilford says to Esther, "You can never contradict Father Bart," and she goes back to the Bible and says, "But Jesus says, right? We should admonish one another. We should be critical thinkers, she's saying, that I should be an equal participant. And so it's not just that it's Christianity, but it's Christianity, right, as a tool of colonialism. Christianity is a tool of white supremacy, where the rule is, oh, no, you never contradict a person simply because they're white. That you're not being brought into this changed society as an equal. And that's the journey that Prudence goes on. I mean, like Esther, Jekasai, this new thing has allowed me to escape a forced betrothal, right? Has allowed me as a woman a certain kind of independence that doesn't exist in traditional Shona culture, right? Which is a very communal culture. I mean, it's not that men had more power under that kind of patriarchal society, but everyone's identity was a communal identity. I am because we are. No, there was no woman that could exist outside of, right, the family network, an extended family network. And you couldn't resist sort of those traditional rules about other people deciding who you married and so forth. So as Prudence, I get to escape that. I have an education.
Can we speak to the themes? I mean, you're kind of doing it right now. I think the themes of the feminism wasn't necessarily there in the same force that maybe that is here today, but it seems like that character is really emerging.
She is emerging, and what was really interesting to see in the research is that, you know, these things aren't black and white. Like, human beings are always seeking out ways of exercising their sense of self and their agency. Right. So one of the things that we learned in the research is that even in the traditional culture where women didn't have much of a voice, they might express their concerns or their complaints by how they named their children. Right? So if I name my children, my husband is mean to me, and I'm paraphrasing, every time somebody called that child's name, what that woman was feeling inside was said. So we have to remember that human beings are always, right, we're inventive. We find ways of expressing ourselves. So that seed is there, or that current is there, and then along comes this missionary culture that says, oh no, girls have a right to be educated. Oh no, you know, it should only be one man for one wife. And so, oh, yeah, here's a tool that I can use to express myself even further. But then what's the limit? Like, how far can you dance in the lion's mouth in terms of, again, this notion of who can you contradict? Does your life matter?
And that definitely
at the end
resonates
of the day,
today. Yeah,
right? Does your life matter as much as someone? Does your voice matter?
Wow.
The sense of, no matter how much education I have, will they still see me as this other?
Wow.
Right? And I love Prudence because she is really looking at how do I create a hybrid? How can I speak the Queen's English, know how to make a proper cup of tea, drink it,
navigate yourself
properly,
through that day to day.
But at the same time, Prudence says, I am and always will be a mate ballet.
Well, thank you for blessing the Cambridge stage and the Central Square Theater stage. If people want to get these tickets, go to centralsquaretheater.org. Definitely look for me in the house somewhere. But thank you again, Ms. deGannes.
Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to hopefully having you come around this way again and do some more acting. So thank you for your time today. All right, well, that concludes our report for NeighborMedia. Please look for more stories at NeighborMedia.org. I'm Maurice Wilkey. Have a good day.